please join me in welcoming Senior Presidential Director James Lowe from Singapore. James has served on the APAC Field Advisory Council from 2022 to 2024, helping align regional leadership with LifeWave's global vision. He's been recognized with the Global Starlight Award in 2022 and the APAC Humanitarian Award in 2023, and is a two-time Elite Achiever in both 2024 and 2025. Today, James will be sharing on the topic of leaders' role during change, a timely and essential conversation about how to lead with positivity, clarity, vision, and empathy, especially in times of transition. He'll also explore how building the right culture, one rooted in gratitude and purpose, is key to team success and long-term sustainability. So let's lean in and finish strong. Please welcome James Lowe to the stage.
Good day, everyone. I'm truly honored to be able to share with you my journey in LifeWave. I represent Singapore Life Changes. It's my honor because I just want to share what we've been going through, how we learn and grow together in every step of the way. What I'm about to share is something deeply meaningful to me, and I hope is that it brings value as you grow your team. Please know that I'm not here to teach you, but simply to share and impart how I've been building my LifeWave business in Singapore. I'm going to begin by asking this question: how do you attract the right people who are willing to be a part of your organization and you want to work with you? About making sure they are missionally aligned, they have the right passion, the right calling, and are aligned with the right values. Really important. How do you attract the right people to be a part of your organization? And this is super, super important. Why? Because the potential of your organization rests on the strength of its people. Again, the potential of your organization always rests on the strength of its people. Your potential impact, it always reflects the quality of your leaders. Unfortunately, so many leaders don't really understand this truth. A lot of leaders obsess about things that I would call like organizational strategy. They focus on first like finding the right location, or designing the right brand, or creating the right advertising strategy. And there's nothing wrong with this actually, but I would suggest a better approach. And that is, many leaders obsess about developing the right strategy, but the best leaders obsess about developing the right leaders. And I want to say it again, so many people, they're just like, hey, strategy, and what do we do next? But the very best leaders obsess about developing the right leaders. Why? Because the right leaders will find the right location, and the right leaders will design the right branding, and they'll create the right advertising strategy. Why? Because the potential of your organization rests on the strength of its people. So what do? You want the right leaders, and you want the leaders that match your mission, reflect your values, share your calling, and lead with aligning values. In other words, you always want talented leaders, right? But you don't just want talented leaders, you want talented leaders that are aligned with your values. Super important. I think this is important. Instead of asking how do you attract the right leaders, I would suggest adding one little word that reshapes how we think about leaders. And I'll add this word: how do you attract and build the right leaders? Think before attract. As often as possible, when you're looking at developing your team, think before you attract. In Singapore Life Changes, that's how we identify ourselves as: I allow my leaders to freely express themselves. I see the potential of each one of them and allow them to use their strengths and creativity to build and grow the organization. So how do you attract and build the leaders that are aligned missionally with you? And so we'll start with the big premise, and then we'll drill down to specifics. We're going to think more about creating a culture that is so compelling and that the right people, the right leaders are drawn to it. Let's talk about it. So what is your culture? How is it created? Your culture is created by default or design. Every single time is created by default or by design. In other words, your culture, it seems obvious, but it's so true. It is a result of what you have intentionally created or what you have unintentionally allowed. And what is your culture? It is an unwritten rule. It's how people think. It's how people behave. And it's always a result of what you intentionally create or unintentionally allow. And so to state the obvious, but we need to say it is I don't care how much you care, how hard you work, you will never create a healthy, strong, thriving culture by accident. And so important, you will never attract, build, and retain the right people when you tolerate an unhealthy culture. Your culture matters more than you can imagine. So let's get practical and talk about it. If you want to attract and build missionally aligned leaders, what do you do? We are going to talk about three things. Number one, you want to be clear about what you value. You want to really care about what you value. Now, why does it matter? It matters because you don't attract what you want. You attract who you are. You don't just say, hey, I want to attract leaders that are excellent. If you don't live with excellence, you don't just attract people that are humble. If you are full of pride, you don't just attract what you want, you attract who you are. So you're not just out there like trying to find the right people. You are creating a type of organization that the right people want to join. You will never attract, build, retain leaders when you tolerate an unhealthy culture. Your culture matters more than you can imagine. Number one, you want to be clear about what you value. You want to really care about what you value. So how do you create the values? Well, you start with what you love and what you hate. What you want and what you love and what you righteously hate. What you stand for and what you don't ever want to tolerate. And then you're going to pick about maybe 3, 4, 5, or 6, never more than 7 values. And you want your values to be very clear, very compelling, and memorable. You want everyone to know these values. You want them to not just be words on the wall in the hall, but you want them to be burnt on the hearts of your leaders. What you believe determines what you do. What you value determines what you do. What you believe determines how you behave. So what you want to do is what you want to be super clear. These are the values that are things that stands for in our organization. And we don't bend on those rules. So if you want to attract and build the right leaders, first, you have to be really clear about what you value. The second thing is you want to create a culture that unwaveringly reflects and protects your values. You want a culture that says, this is what we do, and we do it, and how we do it, and we never ever do it that way no matter what. Why? Again, I'll say it, your culture is created by default or by design. Your culture is a reflection of what you create or what you tolerate. So if you're looking at your culture today and you're going, we are not really getting the kind of people we want. It's probably because you don't have the kind of culture that you really want to attract those people. So if you don't like your culture, stop tolerating it and start creating it. How do you create culture? As simply as I can say, it is you are going to be clear about what you value, and you're going to reward it when you see it and correct it when you don't. You are going to be really clear. And then, as a leader, every time someone lives in those values, you report it, you reward it, you celebrate it, you cheer them on, and you say, hey, there it was, and that was great. You talk about it at meetings, you reward it when you see it, and you correct it when you don't. And you do that over and over again, and what you're doing is you're teaching your team how you think, how you behave, how you act, how you respond, and honestly, you teach them why you care about what you're doing, because it reflects your values. What does a strong culture do? It actually corrects wrong behavior. When the culture is strong, wrong behavior stands out, and the the team corrects it really, really quickly. So it's not easy, and you're going to want to work really, really hard, like starting now, starting yesterday, starting immediately on establishing a strong culture. When you work hard on creating the right culture will work hard for you. Let me say it again. When you work hard on creating the right culture, then the right culture will work hard for you. It's going to drive the right behaviors, and it's going to correct the wrong ones. And then all of a sudden, this culture, this is like your advertisement. Like people say, I want to be a part of that, because you've got clarity, you've got directions, you've got mission, you've got passion. And the good news is this, it just takes consistency over time. You reward it and you correct it, do it consistently over time. Once you create it, then you have to righteously guard it. So every meeting, all the time, everywhere, anytime, you're with people, you're talking values, you're celebrating it, you're correcting when it's not there. Why? Because your vision leads and values drift. Vision leads and values drift. So as a leader, you are the chief reminding officer. Here's what we stand for. Here's where we are going. Here's what we believe. Here's what we value. Why? If you want the right people, you have to create the right culture. So number one, be clear about what you value. Number two, create a culture that is unwavering. It unwaveringly reflects and protects your values. Now, let's talk about the people. Number three, what you want to do is you want to recruit for values over talent. This is going to make you mad. It's actually hard for me to say, but it's true. You're going to recruit for values over talent. And you may say, that's okay. I can't quite buy that. But I beg of you to believe me, recruit for values over talent. Yes, of course, you want smart leaders. Yes, you want bright leaders. You want gifted leaders. You want leaders with talent. Yes, but take it to the bank. When talent isn't rooted in strong values, the results will be shallow and short-lived. Let me say it again, and I want you to hear it. And if led for any time, you know it's true. When talent isn't rooted in strong values, the result will be shallow and short-lived without character. Someone's gifts that quickly become liabilities. I mean, they can be incredibly talented, but if they don't have character, they are going to fall apart and create organizational disasters, right and left. And I would give you an example. I have people who come to the office who tell me, they want to join me, they want to join that person. I've created a culture so much so that they will say, hey, they come to me and tell me somebody has actually approached us and wanted to join us. To which I would say, well, have you actually asked them who they belong to previously? So what we're trying to do is when we have a strong culture, they will automatically come back to me and report to me. And that's what I mean, that you will become your own advertisement. But if you have been leading for any time at all, you've led it right. We've all been around the talented leader that lacks integrity, or capable leader that loses her temper, or the brilliant charismatic leader that lacks consistency, or is over demanding, or whatever it is, and it doesn't matter how capable they are. If their values are organizationally misaligned, they will end up leading the other team members into the wrong place. So you have to get it right. And I want to be really, really clear and tell you this, that they don't even have to be what I call like bad values, like lacking integrity, to be a liability, that the values can simply be like different from yours. And that can be a problem. I'm going to begin by asking this question. How do you attract the right people who are willing to be a part of your organization and they want to work with you? About making sure they are missionally aligned, they have the right passion, the right calling, and align with you with the right values. About making sure they are missionally aligned and they have the right passion, the right calling, and are aligned with the right values. Really important. How do you attract the right people to be a part of the organization? And this is super important. Example, a flashy entrepreneur who's done multiple businesses, talks big, but is always asking, what's the comp plan? How fast can I make 5 figures? And then another case, a 55-year-old auntie who uses the patches daily, tells her church friends about it from the heart, and is always present. And even if she's shy to speak, why? Why do you go to the auntie? She's grounded, sincere, and has influence where it matters. Her community trusts her. She might take longer to grow, but the team will have heart and loyalty. Another example, a speaker who can present to a room and sell big, but is always busy and rarely follows up with prospects or thanks team meetings. Then another example, a quiet team member who always brings friends to events, follows up diligently and checks in on how her downlines are doing, even if she doesn't talk on stage. Why choose her? She embodies servant leadership. People trust her because she's dependable. She builds a stable team culture. And I give you those examples to tell you that the same is true for you. There's something that you value that makes you unique. There's something deep inside you, whether you lead a team or whatever it is, your family, that makes your family unique. And so you want to be really clear on what those values are. And when you're recruiting people, you want to recruit people that share your values. You would rather have a B-level leader with aligned values than an A player with misaligned values. Remember, this is so important. It's you can always teach skills, but you can't teach values. You can always help someone improve in their skills, but you can't change their heart. Only God can do that. Don't talk yourself into recruiting that person, especially when you're desperate. I've seen it many times. You have to be really on guard. When you're desperate, you have to remind yourself what you do is really, really, really important. And you'd rather wait longer to find the right person than recruit the wrong one when you're desperate. Why? Because culture is built by the right people you hire or you recruit. If you recruit people with the wrong values, you will never have the right culture. And without the right culture, you could never attract, build, and retain the right leaders. I've been truthful with you. If you have leaders with misaligned values, and they are, especially if they are high up in the organization, it makes the whole things unstable. What you have to do, and this is one of the reasons leadership's not easy, is if you have got a key leader or a key volunteer and they have misaligned values in the problem, you have to deal with the problem leader. If you don't deal with the problem, you have no idea how much credibility you're going to lose with the rest of your team, who are all looking on going, that's a problem. And our leaders aren't dealing with the problem. So, if you don't deal with the problem, eventually the problem isn't a problem, but you're the problem because you're not dealing with the root issue. So we've covered a lot of ground, and let's just kind of wrap it up. What are you? You are a mission-focused, value-driven servant leader. Whenever the mission is clear, the decisions are easy. Whenever the values are clear and celebrated, the culture becomes healthy. Healthy cultures attract healthy leaders. But you're not just attracting, you are building. And building is hard work. It takes a lot of time. When you attract great leaders, when you build great leaders, and you want to retain great leaders, what are you going to do? You have to let them lead. You have to cheer them on. You have to take risks. And you have to celebrate the wins. And before long, it may take 3 years or even 5 years. It could take a while. But before long, you're going to wake up and realize you are part of something special. And I want to tell you, it is almost impossible to fathom what God can do through a team of growing leaders aligned with missional passion and shared values. I'm going to wrap it up with a closing statement. when you humbly submit yourself to grow and be led into a mission that really matters, surround yourself with like-minded leaders, wholly obsessed to a mission. One day, you'll wake up and say, wow, somehow together, apart with other great servant leaders, we are actually making a difference in the world. And I want you to know you have that in you. You can make a difference. You can find the right people. Not just find the right people, you can build the right people. And together, you can build each other. And when you all get better, guess what? Everyone wins. Everyone will know that everyone wins when the leader gets better. In the end, what are you? Mission-focused, value-driven servant leader. Thank you very much.